Om Shanti, and welcome to this special conversation on spirituality in family life. And to discuss this, we have with us guests from Hong Kong, Brother Harry and Sister Ayako. Brother Harry has been a household name in Hong Kong on TV and radio for the last 30 years. He's also a magician and a musician and has done special work in healing through magic. And Sister Ayako has been a violinist and has performed with top artists across the world. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yes, it's a pleasure. And the most interesting bit is that you have spirituality, Raj Yoga meditation, as an integral part of your life. You're living in a family life, and yet you're practicing spirituality. Tell us more about your journey. How did it begin, and how did you adopt the spiritual lifestyle? I'll begin with you, Harry.
Okay, well, it's a long journey, but at the same time, it's a very short journey, and I'll tell you why. Because the journey literally from our house to the center itself, to the doorstep, literally is just 3 minutes away. So that is a short journey. But it took us 4 years to find this place. Ayako and I with our little boy, Yuji, who is 8 years old now. But we moved into this flat a long time ago when Yuji was only 1 year old. And right next to us, not far away, is Raja Yoga. But we managed to walk past Raja Yoga every day without even seeing it. Until 2013, on a fine morning, which was, I think, I remember as it was around Chinese New Year, is that right? There was some celebration. I thought, wait a minute, I used to see a lot of Indians and various people who were wearing white, but they're celebrating Chinese New Year as well. That's fascinating. I walked in, and they were so nice and smiled at me, started talking to me, and said that they will actually teach yoga. Somehow I already knew that actually we are talking about yoga of a different kind, and it looks like something that I've been looking for a very long time. So our lives never look back. I went home, and Ayako and I want to take the class. Well, we're from Hong Kong. So, of course, a lot of things were operating in Cantonese. How fascinating, because there was a sister who just came from Australia the same week as we actually went there. So this wonderful sister by the name of Sister Rohini was giving Ayako and I class. And we never looked back. And even now, not only we will go to the center regularly, but we even fortunate enough to actually go in there very early in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Every day?
Yeah. To see the sunrise as we come out from a 1 hour very, very nice session of meditation.
Very beautiful to know that. Ayako,
Yes.
what was that thing which attracted you, that first thing which pulled you towards adopting that lifestyle? Because it has been quite sudden for you.
Yes, it was. First, that time during 2013, I had a lot of questions in life. Why the people around us are like this? Why there's war? Why there's people suffering?
You're not talking about me, are you? Yeah, okay. You never know, yeah.
Yes.
Why is he next to me? Why is he my husband? Yeah, we do ask that question.
Yeah. But I had a lot of questions, and I was not very happy living in this world. Then we went into the center. We took 7 days course. To me, everything was explained. And so now I understand why it should be like this, and how I should take care of it, how I should adapt my lifestyle. So to me, from the first day, I really, really liked the teaching.
So it gave you answers to many, many questions which were
Yes.
already there in your mind.
Which is amazing.
It's amazing.
Because before that, Ayako actually is a bit of an atheist, and I always feel that she is very, she's looking for something, but she has never found the thing. And it is quite amazing that all the answers embodied in one teaching, and which is so close to where we live as well at the same time. And that has to be magic, quite honestly. That's how I see it. Yeah.
Very beautiful. You know, when we talk about spirituality, for most of the people, you know, it's a path of solitude, a path of recluse. But here we have a whole family, you know, your child who's 8 years old, both husband and wife. You are on the spiritual path as well as on the family path. Tell us more about it.
First of all, I would like to tell you that I was born actually in a family of Christians. So when I was young, I used to go to church. I loved singing in the church, but it doesn't stop me from asking more questions. And as I was growing older, I had even more questions to ask, and more questions not being answered, or having too many different types of answers, which actually kind of making me, you know, even a little bit more confused. But one thing, up till now, when people ask me, so what is your religion and what do you believe? I like the question of what do you believe more than what is your religion, because as we all found that a lot of religions were man-made, and my answer is simply, I am not religious, but I can tell you I am spiritual. I found that a very honest answer, and people take that and they will ask even more. So what do you mean by that? You know, I can't see, you are a very extrovert kind of person, right? We can't really see that, like what you said, solitude and sitting
Recluse.
there, you know, recluse. But the best person to ask is my soulmate right here. And as much as I do television, meet a lot of people, playing with children all the time and performing, but I have always been quite quiet at home.
Quite introvert at home. He likes to search things. He wants to be himself rather than always entertaining, you know, outside. At home, he's quite quiet.
So that actually is quite a natural tendency. In fact, I realize with a lot of very famous entertainer and performers is exactly the same. Those very funny, comics, right? And I know a lot of comics and funny people and entertainers. They're wacky on stage and really a lot of energy. But actually, in truth, they're very quiet and introvert. Because you really have to look inside, and that is such an important part. And without that, you are just a lunatic. You're just going crazy without, you know, substance. Therefore,
So can we say that, you know, when we add this element of meditation and silence in our life, we are creating the balance to, you know, to go deep within, to create that space and to give out to the world and the family.
Definitely.
to me, I used to look at things outwardly. What can I do for you? What can I give you? Yeah, and because I used to believe in, you know, it doesn't matter if I sacrifice, but it is all about giving things away. But then you realize, then I realized, but where does it come from? Now, I know everything comes from Baba. And now I feel very confident in giving. And also I found inner peace. I truly find that I can feel very peaceful. And then there is this sweet smile just come out naturally on your face. So I don't have to put up this, I am happy, you know, I would like to give you happiness thing. It comes from within. Therefore, it is even like, it is mandatory to actually do yoga. To say that every day is understating. It's almost like I'm hoping and trying to do it all the time, because now I know that yoga is about connecting, and it is not necessary about sitting at a specific place, looking at a specific object, and it becomes a beautiful, almost like an art of life.
So just to ask you another question of when you got introduced to Raj Yoga meditation, how was your understanding of God changed, your connection with the Supreme? Because there's a lot of emphasis on who we are and our connection with the Supreme.
I have my answer, but that is such a good question that I want to know how Ayako answered that question.
To me, I always believe in light. I have been in a new age a kind of spirituality since I was very young because of my mom's influence. So I have been like always studying about chakra and aura and about light. But with Raja Yoga, it is very specifically tell you what it is, what it can give you, what we have to do to connect with the God. And once you get that connection, once you become obedient, once you have that love, you are not going to leave the God.
For me, I'm coming from a Chinese family. Therefore, I mean, Chinese has very strong family kind of tie. In fact, the whole China almost is like a big family. We look at the government and say great-grandfather, something like that. And I found that it's so pleasing to know that Supreme actually is like part of the family, but even more so, because now I know that Baba actually never takes the form like what we do. That's why there is this incredible amount of love and knowledge that no human being can give. Now because of that, I can trust him so much. I can go into his cradle any moment and say, Baba, that is so sweet. Thanks for doing that for me. And that is just the beginning. And what I have really learned from that, to be honest, is how to use that love and apply it in my fatherhood, and apply it in when I'm teaching, apply it when I'm on stage. Then I suddenly feel that, wait a minute, now the role I'm playing is more and more congruent. I'm not trying to play different roles. I'm being more and more in tune with that one person. And somehow, surprisingly, I would think that maybe people don't accept you because now your eating habit is very different, and also your belief is very different. You don't drink anymore. You're going to lose a lot of friends.
Were they your friends? Do you lose them just not for drinking?
Yeah, but actually, it is just the contrary. I have not lost any friends that I still care for, because then you realize if those are people who say goodbye because you don't drink, they're not really your friends.
Exactly.
And I have a lot of wonderful friends who actually still drink, but they respect me so much that when we're meeting, we will have a cup of tea instead, and suddenly we realize the friendship actually is taking a different turn. Because let's face it, man and man has been doing socializing for centuries, and all we talk about is exactly the same thing all the time over a glass of beer. But now, with the same person, because there is a different perspective, they look at you differently. And when you are having this cup of mint tea, they suddenly say that, actually, I have this idea of making tea. Would you like to try? And I get to know that person differently. And I can see that person's soul. And I relearn and re-meet a friend, and they look at you differently. Now that is so beautiful, because you not only you can actually not worry about those people that you don't really care, or they don't care about you, and it doesn't matter. But you also actually have to renew all these old comrades and brothers.
Very beautiful. You know, you mentioned two aspects of that. Your relationship with God actually, it now makes you a better father, makes you a better actor, makes you a better person who gets into relationship with other people. And the fact that when we are changing our lifestyle, there's a renewal of relationships which we already had. What is it that you would like to add, Ayako?
Actually, especially for my mother, my parents, my sister, they see a big change in me. And first, they see my lifestyle has changed, eating habit, and the time I wake up. We used to stay up very late because of our job nature, but we start sleeping earlier, and they can see our personality has been transformed. So they start asking questions. Then I start introducing about what it is, and actually they are very fascinated but they don't
Yes.
really have the guts to go into the center to learn, to meet the people that we are talking about. So like my mom, she lives in Japan, but she comes to Hong Kong and go to the center. So she can have my company and she feels very comfortable. And little by little, I introduce the people in Japan, the Raja Yoga sisters, Japanese sisters. Then she now going to bring her friends to the center.
Very beautiful. So it's a transformation which people see that
Yes.
enables them to come forward and then bring that transformation in their life. How easy or difficult has been for you, because you've been in the entertainment industry, on the TV, you've been performing worldwide, so you've had this life which is very exciting and glamorous, and then suddenly you are changing it to be more spiritual. You are continuing with your work, but how easy or difficult was for you and for other people to see this change?
I love the word you use, glamorous, because glamorous is like bling bling, is like and all of that. But I don't think we have ever been any more glamorous than now, because it is so wonderful that wherever we go with sister like you, and when we come to beautiful place like this, in fact, behind the camera we have wonderful brothers, and everyone is glamorous. It is not just whoever sit here, ladies and gentlemen, I am the star. It's not. We don't look at life that way anymore. It should be very hard because it's like, oh, you have to give up so much. But when what you have to give up is actually not that important, then it is not a giving up. In fact, all those are wasteful bodily things, and I might be fortunate because I'm 54 already. Therefore, I've been there, done that, and there's a lot of things that I thought, how much more can you have? I have friends who has house and houses, cars and more cars. And what are they going for? Another car. And then, do they have time for their kids? No. Why? They're too busy to go for another car. So that they're giving their kids, to some professionals to look after. Yeah, they can buy all kinds of toys for the kids, but they're not really seeing the real value now. But since we are sitting here together, I must say, I'm very, very fortunate to have a soulmate who is actually my wife, but she's more than my wife. I always joke about and say that I see you as a spirit, I see you shine, and you are glamorous, yeah? And we are like soulmates. She's almost like my brother, but very often she's like my mother as well, right? My son and I always joke about and say that, yeah, our boss is coming, yeah. But when you're looking at why Ayako, why my wife is making all these decisions for us and all of that, it is coming out from love. And when you see the intention, there is no complaint how fortunate we are. And sometimes I think like little boys do need a little slap on the back of the hand, and keep us on track. Yeah, and so we don't mind, and that's why I love the organization very much. And when I see all the sisters are taking charge and running the whole organization immaculately, because I'm getting into administration now and operation and management. I've never seen anything of such a size to be run in so much congruency, peace, harmony, and genuine respect and acceptance. And because of that, the result is tenfold. It's not just what we call digital control. It's not like that. And that way, I'm learning so much from it too. But very importantly is I think I'm very fortunate to have Ayako to be my mate, my soulmate, because there are times when you have to get up at 4. In fact, it has to be 3:45 to be honest, right? To get yourself ready in the morning. There's a notch. Yeah, there's the.
It's very interesting that you're keeping up this morning 4 a.m. meditation every day apart. despite having this schedule, despite having a family, many times people complain, we are young and we have a family and we have a kid and I have a job and both of us are working and it's no time for meditation.
Actually, we consult the sisters a lot because we work till late. Like my concert finish, maybe I come back, it's at midnight. He has so many meetings, he comes back after midnight sometimes. So I consult with the seniors a lot, and they said it doesn't matter before you go to sleep. Yeah, so it's maybe 2 o'clock, 2 a.m., you do your Amrit Vela and go to sleep. And just wake up and then do some meditation and start your day. And so we don't really like, if we have very tough time schedule, then we don't really follow that 4 o'clock. But when we can sleep early, we definitely try to help each other to wake up together and sit together.
But that's rarely though. We are talking about most of the time we do get up at 4.
Yes.
The interesting thing is this, all our seniors are so wonderful and giving and say that, just try. You don't push yourself, but try. But then we realize that it is more than that.
Yes.
Because the fact that we actually come back late means that we have so much from outside. We desperately more inside churning, and the meditation becomes even more important. So very often, sometimes, I would even come back with a lot of excitement, because I have to work for a very long day. Come back, have my tea, and then sit there and do some study until 4, do the Amrit Vela, then you go to sleep, then you feel much better. In fact, your body and your soul is telling you, you actually need it even more then. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so that actually balances things out very well. Yeah.
Brother Harry and Ayako, it's been lovely talking to you. And but we've come almost to the end of this conversation. But before we close, I would really like to know, and I would like you to tell the audience that what is the importance of getting into spirituality, which is an integral part of our human existence, whether we are in family life, whether we are working, whatever sort of job, like the way you're so busy all the time, yet you are able to integrate the elements of spirituality and meditation in your life, and what is the benefit of doing that in a very short way. Ayako and then Harry.
To me, the connection with God cannot replace with anything else. What you get from God is much more than what you sacrifice. Not sacrifice, but what you give up in life. Meat, fish, that's a very small thing, right? But what He can give you is so much more that you don't feel anything, and to me, I will never leave God. Yeah.
Brother Harry.
Without spirituality, every day we're looking at something different. With spirituality, every day is something to celebrate. Every morning when you get up is great, I'm alive. I'm not alone. And Baba's love actually is more important than anything else. And that really gives the true glamour, shine, and make us feel light all the time.
You've shared wonderful experiences. If you can tell me in brief, what was life before and what is life, family life, now?
Truly, I would say there are many ways to actually see it. I can answer that question with 30 minutes. But I think to make it very easy to understand, I think I've always been a living doing, but not really a living being. Because I was too busy doing, I was too busy to be a husband, I was too busy to be, the father and to be the son, and too busy on everything. But now, because of Baba, because of spirituality, I'm just being. And somehow that makes everything much easier, and I can really do more than one job. I can really be multitask. Just because of that very important meditation that not only put me in place, but also put everyone in our family in place.
So Brother Harry and Ayako, thank you so much for sharing your wonderful experiences. I'm sure the people listening to it would really understand that when we integrate spirituality, integrate meditation in our life, relationships can work for better. We can be a better father, better mother, a better person in life. And instead of taking, we are in a position to give more spiritual love. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and being with us. Om Shanti.
Om
Om
Shanti.
Shanti.